I'm happy to do so. Welcome to our December BPAC meeting, everybody. Apologize for not being present, but I am self-quarantining. I was exposed on Sunday to COVID, so don't want to give it to anybody else for sure. So how do you want to do attendance? You want to let everybody online just say who they are? Would that work?
That'd be good. Everybody that is a panelist, they can go ahead, and I'll get those folks that are just attendees. I'll let folks know who they are. But
all right, great. Thank you.
Corey Denninger here, BPAC. Gunter Flag, still free citizen at large, member of BPAC.
Yep.
Press the button and hit the red light up here, you're on. That button with your left thumb there. Hey guys. You're on.
Joel Jackson, BPAC.
Where am I present?
You're on. You're good. You're on.
Mark Penson, BPAC.
Way to make an entrance, Mark.
This is Mike Zinn with the Florida Department of Transportation, District 7, your CTST coordinator.
Tania Corman, Pasco County MPO.
Nate Delman here, GIS, aka Map Connoisseur here.
You're fired.
Hi everyone, this is Jayan with Park Rec and Natural Resources.
Casey?
Yeah, I was going to say, hi, I'm Casey Kersey with AECOM, and I think Channing's probably on as well.
Yeah, this is Channing Bickford with AECOM as well.
And then Morgan.
Can you folks hear me?
We can now.
Yeah, Morgan Gaynor, BPAC at large.
Hey, Morgan.
Thank you, Counselor.
So we have online Alex Henry with FDOT, Becky Alfonso from FBA, Ryan Michaels, Debbie Malone, and then there's a call-in user that I don't recognize, but that's who we have as attendees as well. Dr. Stovall, you're
all right. Yeah, do we have any public comment? Anybody there for that tonight?
There is no one outside for public comment.
Okay, that means next is the looking at the minutes. We don't have a quorum yet, do we? So we just look at them.
Yeah, just consensus. If anybody has any corrections or something we missed, we can go ahead and note them, even though we don't have a quorum.
So if anybody has any corrections or changes, if you can tell us now, or you can send that to Tina offline.
Yeah, sorry. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So next item on our agenda would be the what is it? The Executive Director's quarterly timesheets.
So this was our last MPO meeting, which was in September. Our very last one was actually canceled. but these were the last two action items. Just along those lines, we are in the process of hiring a new MPO director. Terry is our interim director who is the head of planning and development, but we're in the process of hiring a new director, MPO director, and also 2 planners. So that's kind of what I just wanted to present to you as far as the MPO board, and then they'll be meeting this Thursday as well.
Will any of those planners be taking over for you, or are you still going to stay in your same role?
I'm still going to stay in the same role.
All right, well, good luck on that process. Hope we get a really good new MPO director. All right, so the next item that I see on the agenda it's really up to you, Tina, so please inform us.
So we're going to look at the 2 videos that came out of Vision 1, Phase 1 in just a minute here. But I just wanted to give you a little bit more background with that first phase of Vision 1 that started back in February, or actually before that. I took over in February. But the first phase was basically to make these 2 videos and to get some video and get our brand kind of set in place so we can move on with phase 2 of Vision 0. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and watch that first video, which is meant to be more of a PSA type video. I think we've seen this once before. It's been tweaked a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and show that first one. This is a shorter one. So that's our first one. Again, we've gotten a lot of comments about that video and a lot of different, and you always get a lot of comments when you do videos, but we have several minutes of video footage that we did for this video and several other videos. We've spent a half of a morning or a good morning at Ridge Road in 19 doing video footage. I did quite a bit of video footage out at 54 at the Starkey Trail Crossing that we can use for future education and engagement. And then this video was something that wanted to be done out of that first Vision 0, and it's to promote our trails. And it's kind of ironic that COVID happened and trails are being promoted within themselves, but we wanted something to get people out, and then from there we could start educating those new folks. But this video hasn't been shown to you guys, but this video is to get people out on their bikes. And again, it's kind of ironic that this was right before COVID happened and people are getting out on their bikes and walking. But that's what this video is about, is to kind of influence people to get out and move. Thank you, Todd.
Trails have so many purposes to them. They connect you to places. They get you outside in the fresh air, and then you can exercise and you can be with friends when you're out using trails.
We're a Pasco family and we walk together.
We're real mindful in Pasco County that all the new neighborhoods need to have a trail system, and they need to have a way for the residents who want to walk out of their community or cycle out of their community to have a way to connect to a trail system.
Hi, I work for the MPO as a transportation planner, and I plan multi-use pathways.
I think our residents love the trails, and I hear about it all the time, and they do want them to be safe and safer. Soon we'll be building some of our first overpasses in the county, pedestrian overpasses, which will help a lot.
One of the reasons that I moved to Pasco County 2 years ago was for the numbers of trails, pathways that I could walk on. I'm a frequent walker. I try to walk 2 to 3 miles a day for health and fitness.
My name's Tina Russo. I work for Pasco County. I'm a cyclist and I love to ride for my health and just to be outside in the great outdoors of Florida. So these, again, are just some basic videos that we can reproduce. And again, that first video has been tweaked quite a bit. We can redo it to fit wherever the audience is. And I'll let Casey jump on and Channing jump on in just a minute to give a little bit. But this second piece, this phase that you've seen the write-up, second phase of the Vision Pro is going to be about engaging people and educating people. And that first step, if you look at the scope that we're looking at, is getting everybody on the same page of what we want to do. And from there, we're just going to get the message out. Gunther?
I was just wondering, on the first video, the road crossing with the flashing lights, aren't those the lights that are being disbanded by the Florida DOT?
So they were up to be eliminated. They were in the legislation. That's no longer the case. The rapid back flashing beacons, yes. So they were up on the chopping block a year ago, but that's no longer there. I can find out the latest at the next meeting. Becky, who is with FBA and stuff, they do the legislation side of that, but they were up to be taken out because there was a fatality. But they're still not there. So,
Tina, let me know and I can kind of jump in there for Gunther's question too.
Yes. So, the engagement and education part is what this next piece is about. And we're going to kind of move forward from there. Casey, you can go ahead and jump in if you want.
Well, what I want to say is really the one with that light, Gunther, as you're saying there, crossing Starkey Boulevard, right about the time there had been the accident with the school child crossing, the teenager. So we were really trying to gear this to young kids, short, less than 15 seconds, would go out as a social media spot. That's why you've got the music, the moving fast. It would be on their phones. The school board might be able to use it. So it was geared to a very younger generation of just pay attention. Like as Tina said, you must look. And we have revised that thing. I think, we had 5 different drafts. One was more for adults, one whatever, but that's really the kid version to go out before next March with the next time change of just trying to show them how they are really dark in the dark. They've got to be visible. So if there's something that shouldn't go, Tina, we'll change it, but that's kind of where that one was coming from is a one-time shot next March before the time change.
And a lot of this is based on our crash reports. Again, Casey said that this came about because there was a fatality right after the time change and it was dark in the morning and it was a dart out type situation. So that's the reason why it's like that. And then, again, it's the educational part of it. The next part is the engagement part, which is really, really hard. Heard enforcement quite a bit, and Dan's on here from Pasco County Sheriff's Department. But the engagement part has to be part of the education and the enforcement. You really have to engage folks almost one-on-one to get them educated. And then the enforcement part is for that section of people that don't want to be educated or engaged. So it's not just the engineering, this is that other piece that we're looking at. And by using the education and engagement, that's where the MPO can figure out the engineering part. Okay, engineering is expensive and long-term. So these are something that we can do now with COVID and the number of people that are getting out now. There are new people getting out biking and walking that we can teach them how to do the right things because most people, they don't know the right way of doing things. So, and we have a lot of video that we took advantage of taking during COVID because we couldn't do the education and engagement at that time. So we went out and did a lot of videotaping that we can use now for this next piece of engagement and education. Casey, anything else?
I would say maybe Tina, tell them about the Gulf Coast Summit, but the part for me that COVID did that I had not anticipated was the bonus is how much time Channing and I and Tina could spend out in the field observing behavior and the way people make decisions. And that was as much us riding and biking and sort of being someone that they're not paying attention to when we're watching them. And one Saturday morning, I spent 6 hours at Starkey Boulevard and State Road 54, just watching how people use the push buttons, what their issues were, when they're paying attention and not. And I think that's going to help us a lot with engagement, because it's not exactly what I expected were the reasons that accidents are happening. So it's educating me as well for the engagement piece of what's happening out there. So I appreciate the MPO's ability to let us get out there and really observe.
So Casey, did you notice a lot of people on bikes on 54 pressing the button, but then just deciding to ride whenever they wanted to, when it was clear?
No, I thought that might be the case because I live near the Courtney Campbell Scenic Trail and I'm at Bayshore there a lot. They really do follow the instructions. A lot of it's more about the wide range of users now. You've got people that were not riding a year ago that are using that crossing. The conflict comes with crossing south from Starkey Boulevard south to get to the Trinity Trail. There's that little bit of conflict because both parties have the right of way, the person walking and biking as well as the person making a right. That seems to be a conflict there. A little bit of it is people just being impatient more about crossing Starkey Boulevard to get to the east side once they've crossed on the west side. So I was impressed at how many people really they're concerned for their safety and they're not just going for it. I think the accidents are more outliers where somebody makes a quick decision and maybe it wasn't the best one versus a lot of people not waiting on the light. They all pushed those buttons. They really did. Mm-hmm.
And I think every intersection, every crossing is a little different. 54 and Starkey, major road. I mean, once people know that they push the button and not going for it, they're pushing the button now. They didn't in the beginning. We saw that, but now that doesn't seem to be the case. They are pushing the button. It goes back to what Casey said, being patient. And then different users do it in different ways, as Casey observed as well. So we're using all that information on this next part of how we engage and educate people, okay? In the trail video you saw me at 54 and Starkey, those clips were made just for teaching cues for people learning how to cross the road. And these folks are car drivers, so they need to remember, that they need to look for the cyclists as well. I mean, I taught kids for years, and then my big thing is they might be a fourth grader now on a bike, but that kid's getting in the car in a few years. So hopefully you can teach them some good behavior, some safe behavior way before they get in the car and get in it. So that's where that engagement and education really comes somewhere. I think we have a different audience now because of COVID too. We have a lot more people out and about than we ever did.
Yeah, Channing's on too, Tina, and he does the longer rides like you do, the much, much longer rides. And I'm a pedestrian, guys. I'm more of a pedestrian than a cyclist, so I even see it differently than a cyclist. Channing, if you wanted to weigh in on anything you noticed, but you've done the long rides from Brooker Creek up all the way out to Suncoast.
Yeah, I think that with the onset of COVID, there's a lot of people in the county who may not know the trail resources that are out there. So that's kind of one of the reasons why we did the other video with Commissioner Starkey on it, is just kind of promote that in the map, promote a little bit of what is already there and the great trail connectivity that already exists within the county that people are going to get out and use kind of now while a lot of things are still kind of closed, locked down, or not as open as usual. So I think these two kind of go hand in hand to promote the resources that exist and then also promote safe behavior when crossing and interacting with the major roads.
And, it's about the safety and saving lives about more than anything else too. And that's what Vision Zero is about. And it's not just about, it's all users. So that's that part of that video. All these videos are about Vision Zero for all users. The whole alert, be seen, look is to get the eye of those people that are driving cars as much as kids crossing the street. In the dark, you don't realize, everybody said, well, it's dark. You can't see them. Well, that's the point. you can't see them, so you need to be aware of them. That's what happened when time changes and people who are normally driving in the light in the morning all of a sudden are driving in the dark, and those same kids are out on the road. So that's part of that education engagement, just making folks aware of it. I'm just gonna, if you wanna look over those scopes that we decided to follow through, and Casey really helped me to kind of nail down what my vision was and put it in a scope. I think we're heading in the right direction. Just be patient. This is something that, Vision Zero is one person at a time. And unfortunately, we can't see the lives we save. That's been always my biggest thing. We only see the fatalities and the injuries, severe injuries. We don't see that one kid that got missed or that one person that got missed because they knew what to do and what, they pushed the button or whatever it is. So we don't get to see those numbers, unfortunately. So we're working towards that. I do want to say we had the Gulf Coast Safe Street Summit back in November, and it was the Pasco, Hillsborough, Pinellas, MPO, Hernando, Citrus, all the local regional MPOs have a Safe Street Summit. And we had several presentations. Well, there was like 20 plus presentations that were scored to be presented. Well, Pasco and our Vision Zero scope was the #1 scored presentation. So very proud that we can finally start to get back on the map as far as moving forward with our Vision Zero project. And I look forward to being part of that. And that's saving lives more than anything.
Congratulations.
Any comments from anyone in the audience on virtual or here from the board?
Yeah, I just wanted to make one comment. I went over. I couldn't do the Starkey Gap grand opening celebration, but I did go over and ride the trail at a different day. And what impressed me more than anything was that the people driving cars seemed to really be paying attention when the people who wanted to cross either Starkey or what's the other road there?
Was it Trinity?
Yes. The people driving the cars were very observant, and I was surprised at that. So I guess the flashing signs, the flashing lights work at least a lot of the time. So that was good.
So since we don't have a quorum, we can't make action, but any comments made would be greatly appreciated, and we'll move on.
Are we gonna roll? You said something about spring rollout for some of the PSA. Is that gonna happen?
Yeah, we should be good timing wise. And we again, the first phase or the first task of this next scope is about getting all of our partners on the same page, whether it be FDOT, the Community Traffic Safety Team, our own communication folks. So that's how we're going to roll out these videos and this education and engagement is with our stakeholders and partners. So that has to be the first part that we're going to do. And that's where we're going to move forward in January, getting those stakeholders together so we can start rolling out these videos. With COVID, we're going to have to look at different ways of educating and engaging people than we used to. So that's part of it as well.
Hey, Tina, I wanted to throw out there too for all of you, the hardest part was to get actors and actresses during COVID. So when you're trying to do videos and make teaching things, we really all were a little hesitant to get together. And that's where a lot of the people that you saw in there were Tina and the MPO jumped in. You see my whole family's in there, my husband, my son, people from AHECOM, because during COVID, you couldn't just get everybody out there to really create video footage. Becky came out, everybody was fantastic. And we all worked together through the COVID regulations as well, but it's a little bit tougher to create PSAs when you can't get together.
So Becky Alfonso just texted me. So the bill, the rapid flash beacon bill that you were talking about to have them all yanked basically and someone else put it in, the bill died in committee. And then FDOT is now pushing a major educational outreach for the beacons. And if you've been watching anything with FDOT, They just put hawk signals at Bush Boulevard and just did a huge press release as well for those. A little bit different than flash and rep and beacons, but there's, I think, like 38 more going to be scheduled of the hawks in the District 7 area as well. So that's the information on those rapid flash and beacons. And we're getting ready to start writing our scope for a bike ped plan, a big bike ped plan. I'm going to call it an active transportation plan because it's going to include a lot of different things other than bike ped. But we're going to look at a lot of different things as far as treatments go for trail crossings and bike ped also. So those kind of treatments will be part of our active transportation plan as well. Consistency, so people know how to cross the road, is a big part of that. Instead of having different treatments, I call them, every crossing's a different way, it makes it really hard for people to know how to use them. So we're going to work on some consistency with those treatments for our trail crossings and road crossings and ped crossings too, with the help of DOT and that plan.
Tina, it might be useful, also having worked in government for over 20 years, I know we often create plans, but then we don't track progress. Even if it's 6 years from now and this board is someone different, which for me it will be, but it would be nice to see we had this plan, we had this scope, it was approved in 2021, and here it is. What have we done 6 years from now? What have we accomplished? Because I've seen scopes done and plans created and then very little happen, and then all the change in staff and citizen advisory, and then let's do a scope. Oh, well, we did one 7 years ago. Oh, well, I don't know. Did anything get done? I'm not sure. So some way of maybe tracking that and then presenting that on maybe on an annual basis until the next plan is created or updated. I don't know if that's a regular 3-4 year thing, but it would be nice to see that for the advisory committee and I'm sure the commission.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense, Corey. I think your experience is probably not that different than anybody else's.
And I was part of this BPAC when it first started years ago as a member because of past experience with Hillsborough. So I'd like to see some of those things come through this committee, our projects, our programs, and then follow up with them along the way. And that's what you guys are supposed to do. So I made those notes, and just the way we do our meetings might be a good way of tracking progress or just following up. That's just like Adoptive Trail and other programs I'd like to see for us to get involved in with too. So, but I made that note, somehow following up on our projects and our programs. And now that we have Vision 02 and we're starting our active transportation plan, those will be something that hopefully we'll continuously be a part of and track and kind of go from there. But yeah, that might be a whole piece in our agenda as
maybe it's a spreadsheet.
Huh?
Maybe it's a spreadsheet, because typically the consultants create a document that's, 300 pages long.
Right.
But it's the meat that we're really after, and you can consolidate that in a spreadsheet and not modify it other than, hey, this was approved in 21, at least in the plan. This is what we're after in the next 8 to 10 years. And then, hey, have we accomplished this or not? And what are the examples?
Well, if you look at our scope, we have some really good kind of benchmarks that we have to do that would help, that we can follow up. Just have those meetings. We have 3 locations that we're going to use. So those are really important that as we move forward, that we would like your input on. I'm going to base it on crash reports, but we're going to get your input on what those 3 locations might be and kind of go from there. So, all right, sounds good.
All right, are we ready to go to project management? Sam?
Let me see, Sam was in, is he on? Man, Sam, you're good. All right, Sam, I guess you're it. Unmute. Oh, he did it. You're good.
Hey, perfect timing. Just made it to the home office.
So I have to give kudos to Sam because Sam won the Bob Builder Award at the Gulf Coast Safe Streets Summit for the guy that does our trail projects and bike ped projects. So that's your lead-in, Sam.
Well, but we were finally able to, celebrate that. And, that's been a huge connection for Pasco County to Pinellas and Hillsborough County.
What's Sam's role?
Sam, let me tell you a good thing that I think you'll appreciate. So I was looking at Google Earth and I wanted to see the Coastal Ancoat Trail and see what the current pictures were. They're really current. You can follow the trail the whole way on Google Earth. It's fantastic. So you can get a virtual ride on a day you can't go outside,
Mark, we'll have to match that up with what I digitized on your map and see how close we got.
Bike it this weekend too.
Oh,
It shows me the places where our original alignment, which is what I have in my Google Earth GIS, where we deviated around a particularly pretty tree or an existing gopher tortoise. I know I worked that contractor hard to minimize our impacts out there, and the whole team's real proud of the way it turned out.
Sam, give your title so everybody knows.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sam Bennick, Pasco County Project Management, and I am the project manager for our, at least all of our current bicycle and pedestrian trail facilities. The others, and I understand we were looking for an update on status on some of our other facilities. The Withlacoochee State Trail, we are working on design. We hope to get 2 separate consultants underway on design for that project over the next year. We have lost a little bit of time on that, but we're looking to recoup it over about the next 6 to 8 months, get us back on track there. And that 2 consultant team will be a big part of that effort. And for those who maybe aren't familiar, that facility would connect the existing Withlacoochee State Trail, which terminates in Trilby, to the Hardy Trail in Dade City. And then it'll pick up again south of Dade City at the southern terminus of the Hardy and connect to the existing 301 trail in the vicinity of the Morningside Drive project up there.
Sam, good job and congratulations on your award. I was wondering if you had an update with coordinating with Tarpon Springs on the Pinellas Anclote. I know you're saying we're basically done in Pasco. Have you heard what the status is in Tarpon?
Yes, sir. Sorry to jump away. I'm suffering from new project Shiny Penny this week. But the last we heard from the team at Tarpon, we actually met in the field with those folks last week to kind of review the Anclote trail that was recently built. I understand that the city of Tarpon and Pinellas County, city of Tarpon was working on the design, and they may be handing that project over to Pinellas County for the construction. But it's our expectation, everything that we've heard from that team, that the connection, and that'll be another key connection for Pasco County into Pinellas County, that'll be coming online here in the next 1 to 2 years. And so we're excited to see that solicitation actually hit the street and then them to start making construction progress on it.
Can I interrupt real quick? I got a text message request from Commissioner Starkey to be unmuted, please.
We got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm here. I'll make some comments when Sam's done.
So as far as the gap between the Pinellas Trail and Coastal Anclote, about a mile or so. I got to ride the Northern Pinellas piece, and then the Anclote, man, it's really cool. So it will be nice. And then, like Sam said, they're moving forward with it towards getting construction moving forward. So that will be a big connector. And then hopefully what we have planned will make it even bigger. So, sorry, Sam.
So I have a question on that. And
yes.
And actually, the guy that's in charge of that was at the ribbon cutting for the Starkey Gap, and he was so hoping you were coming back to the barn because he wanted to talk to you. But I'm excited that they're excited about finishing that piece, and I believe Gunther wrote it maybe yesterday, I don't know, or Sunday. But I was out at that property with the developers of the Anclo River Resort, and they have to pay $145,000, I believe, into the tree mitigation trust fund for they can plant trees. Oh, sorry, I'm driving.
Yes. There you go. Yeah.
No, we lost you again.
She's turned off the video.
She got the bandwidth thing going on.
Well, and I think I understand the comment to be related to the tree mitigation fund payment that would be sought by the county for the development plan of the Anclo River Resort. So I actually sent a note to the engineer.
$45,000.
Okay. I understand, I coordinate with their engineer of record. I've reached out to him once already. Is that something that you'd like for me to just coordinate directly with those folks?
Yeah, I mean, I think $145,000 should get us a lot of nice trees going down Anclo Boulevard. That section needs a little jazz to me.
Okay. And just for I know that we've spoken on that once before, ma'am. For the rest of the team, there is a portion of the Coastal Anclo Trail, which is actually in Pinellas County. Pasco, we opted to run it by the Gulfside Elementary and then bring it along Anclo Boulevard. And that portion along Anclo Boulevard is there's one tree there. I certainly understand the desire for more. So, I'll reach out to folks related to that and see if there's any opportunity there, as well as to the owners of that right of way, to see, what opportunities there may be.
Who is mowing the grass on that right of way?
So my understanding is that the mowing there will be taken up by either the Tarpon Springs Parks Department, along with their management of the trail, or Pinellas County. I believe it's their urban forestry and section of their public works. I am not sure exactly which party would be there, but we were coordinating with both groups this week, so we should be able to get to the bottom of that.
Heard nothing but rave reviews on the Coastal Anclo Trail. Everybody loves it. Walking their dogs, all kind of ages. We are getting some people writing about golf carts on there, so that's another subject. But we just want to connect to it to their neighborhood too. So we've told them they have to their own sidewalk out of.
You're cutting in and out, Commissioner.
And then we can take it from there.
Okay. Well, Sam, it's good to hear all the progress you're making. do you have any other updates you want to provide us?
Sure. My next one was the overpass, Suncoast Trail overpass over State Road 54. Meeting with the team that's doing a feasibility and bridge type and size study out there tomorrow morning. Those folks are expecting to have submissions into the county for our initial review in January. And based on their findings, as their study progresses, we'll evolve that project and develop our construction plans. And that is something that at this point we expect will include a upgrade and a reconfiguration of the existing trailhead, which is on that northwest corner of the Suncoast Parkway and State Road 54 interchange. That's Ayers and Associates who's working on that for us.
So is that one of the places you're going to have an extended ramp so it'll fit into the geography there?
That's one of the things that they're assessing, but our initial looks at it, we didn't see anything that was concerning as far as tying in the existing Suncoast Trail alignment to either a new, a standalone bridge there, or possibly an addition to the existing Suncoast Parkway. Probably the biggest impacts there are going to be feedback from the Turnpike Enterprise and the Department of Transportation as to how they want the facility to actually be constructed. How that maintenance responsibility may be shared between Pasco County and the various others. So honestly, the biggest concern I have on that project is how I'm going to provide an east-west connection for pedestrians and cyclists under the existing Suncoast Parkway Bridge, because as those who are familiar with the area will tell you, it's really difficult to get from east side to west side of the Suncoast right there. And we know that, the more that we add to the facility that exists on the west side, the more that we're going to have those east side residents with no way to get to it. But that is included in our study as well, to try and assess and find a way to provide safe access underneath the bridge.
So Sam, that's definitely higher priority than what I'm about to say, but I think as part of an advisory committee, one of our things is to advise. And I think that if you are familiar with that intersection, a lot of people, when there's overflow, they actually park over in the old Target parking lot. They park at Chili's or Starbucks, and you either have to cross at the light, which even for an adult is a little bit unsettling, or you cross over from, say, north to south, and now you are riding against traffic in the turn lane to go to the light. There really is no way to cross over through the drainage, stormwater drainage area. It would be interesting if you just examine, maybe bring that up with the consultant, if an option could be drawn up and costs, with that, where the trail when it went over, it also divvied off into the side, into that parking lot. I don't think that it would save money, but it may save lives. So that's something, as somebody who's ridden that many times, might be interesting to see, and again, save lives.
There's a cut through from the parking lot next to Chili's down to the trail that now we sort of used over time and created simply by doing it. I think a few years ago we tried to make work here as part of the BPAC efforts, try to come up with an amendment to the MPUD ordinance in Pasco County to force new developments that are adjacent to public trails or sidewalks, especially commercial developments, to create an access just like that, a rogue banded access like that, to make it a legal access into the onto the trail system. whether it's coming out of communities into a shopping center or from a shopping center to public sidewalks and trails. But that never went anywhere, unfortunately.
So just to clarify, Gunther, though, that cut through to the shopping center is just kind of something you guys made yourselves.
Right.
Okay, right.
Don't tell her.
I'm okay with that. It's just, yeah, if we can get one that's a paved and official, that would be.
Do you want to hear this? This is the bike, all the bikers. Hey guys, I have a question. And Gunther has brought this up to me. We have the reserve there that connects to the Suncoast, but they put a locked gate. And someone made the point to me that the reserve is a CDD district, and so their roads, preserve, sorry, everything's public. So how can they lock that gate? And can we get them to open it since it is a public, that's a, public infrastructure?
So I have heard, I asked a similar question. I actually ended up stuck in the preserve. Probably the last thing that they wanted. I was stuck in the preserve and couldn't get to the trail rather than being stuck on the trail and couldn't get to the preserve. But I believe that the gates may have been a request of the Turnpike Enterprise. And while they have been owning and maintaining the right-of-way, I think they have a hesitation about granting access to the limited access right-of-way. So that's something that I was intending to follow up on, especially because I understand that Turnpike has been investigating handing over the right-of-way, the fee ownership for the Suncoast Trail to the county. Certainly, if it is their requirement and this right-of-way is coming to the county, then I would agree that we would want to eliminate any requirement for a gate at that line. But more generally speaking, certainly we hear loud and clear the request for additional access to the Suncoast from the south, from that shopping center. And we are investigating an access to that location, as well as trying to address the issue that leads directly to the need, expanding the parking on the north side of the Suncoast Parkway so that folks don't need to park on the south side because that existing parking lot is full. So we're trying to attack the issue on both sides. And I'm aware of the gates, but I'm not sure at this point if that's something that we're going to be able to resolve. Just knowing the ownership of that property.
I think the developer put it in, and I'm going to be with my son, who was one of the project managers there, in just a little bit. So I'm going to follow up with him, and I'll text you, Sam. Well, he's not project manager, but he was with DR Horton. But I actually think that's DR Horton doing and not the Suncoast. But let's follow up with that.
I don't think they can do that as a developer. If those streets are public within that community, they can't do that any more than they can block the front entrance.
Commissioner Starkey?
That's what I'm thinking as well. So I think they may be trying to get away with having that locked gate, but I don't think they can do it since their streets are public. So I definitely want to look into that because I don't like that they did that.
Well, wouldn't that be a case for the county attorney to check into that? Because, or as Sam said, if it was a concern by the Turnpike Service Authority or someone like that, it's sort of a lame duck compromise to placate them because obviously somebody gets in and out of that. Yeah. And why are these people different than the regular public who is excluded from getting in and out?
We'll do some research on it. Yeah. Michael, Zinn, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I had a comment on that particular issue over there at the preserve. I had a property owner, I guess, from the apartments in the front of the preserve called and complained that she didn't have a safe way to access the trail because of the gate issue in the back. She says it was part of their day with that homeowners back there, and that the people in the apartments weren't allowed access to that gate. In the meantime, I informed a particular person we were putting a traffic light. It should be coming up any time now. For her to cross 54, go down the side of 54, and then cross at the crossings to get back to the trailhead. It's not a good avenue for her, but it's better than what she was trying to do. So when you investigate this, you might check and see if it's an MOA thing.
Yeah, we'll go way back to the beginning of the development all the way through and kind of go from there and just see who the folks are that we need to talk to and kind of go from there. So, and Sam and I had talked about it when he got stuck in there last week. So we started this conversation as well.
Okay.
So that's Suncoast and 54 overpass. You want to go on to Orange Belt next, which kind of falls into that same area, Sam?
Yes, ma'am. The Orange Belt Trail, just from a high level view, would be a new facility with the goal of really running diagonal from the southwest of Pasco Trinity area to the northeast Trilby area, a total of between 35 and 40 miles. That facility is, we have an effort to perform a route study for the alignment and to set essentially where that trail would be from end to end, and to divide it into phases that are, can be individually designed, permitted, constructed, rather than bogging down one massive construction project. As part of that, we will need to select a consultant team. We're trying to get a solicitation out to select that team. But in the interim, we've been trying to identify some segments that could be taken out of the larger study, segments where we already have, the county already has right of way, or could easily secure that right of way, which we would then turn over to design and construction at a more accelerated pace. Ms. Russo and I have been identifying those parcels that we can get, identifying those segments that have some independent utility and can be divided out as their own project and started on quickly here so that we can really start showing traction, showing progress on that job.
I think I can't remember at what juncture we debated, perhaps in this committee, the potential zoning overlay districts for the Orange Trail, or for all intents and purposes any other trail, were zoning overlay districts that would promote trail-friendly commercial activities, such as restaurants, bike shops, small commercial, Airbnbs, that type of that nature, in order to capture the economic power that can come rolling down the trail. And as a reminder, Pasco County has a wonderful trail system, or emerging trail system, but with no jump-off points yet where to spend money. Whether you're a bike tourist crossing through Pasco County, or whether you're a local resident using the trail.
Got our Starkey Market, Starkey Barn.
Well, that's true. That's the first one, and I can appreciate that. But in general, I think such an ordinance could be easily drafted and adopted by the Board of County Commissioners.
We're working on some alignments that would help facilitate that with that first segment, okay, as you speak. And again, it's more about being in the middle of things than away from things, from development, from commercial, but still provide a safe route. So, and that Orange Belt, Sam, the first segment is up for, has construction money for it too, correct?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
So we have construction money for that first segment.
At minimum, there is. Yes, ma'am. That's what we're thinking is probably going to be the low hanging fruit that we could move on here quickly. And if the funding is not specifically earmarked for construction today, there is an understanding, among the team that this is a project that, because of its size, because of the time that we expect to fully deliver almost 40 miles of trail, that we're going to be moving money from phase to phase and from segment to segment as opportunities present themselves. And so there is an understanding that if we're able to put together an opportunity today, that we can leverage the funds that are available today, maybe move them from right-of-way acquisition to construction in order to start capitalizing on those opportunities.
And just to iterate, would take advantage of those opportunities, but they would connect something. We're not going to build something that's not safe and does not connect something, okay? Sometimes, when you hear that, you think we're going to build something in the middle of nowhere that doesn't go anywhere. That's not what's going to happen. It's going to be the opposite. We're going to build something that adds connectivity, that adds to our system that we already have. Joel, did you have a question or comment?
Oh, yeah, as a representative of the Land O'Lakes area, and that's my backyard where that trail is going through. I'm a volunteer there at Swiftmud, both of the preserves. I know them like the bank of my hand. So I'd be willing to, I've walked the railroad track, almost the entire length, the old railroad track, the right-of-way. But I'd be willing to offer whatever assistance or guidance or suggestions or whatever that I have experienced over the last 5 or 6 years.
Hopefully that's sooner than later, too, as we move forward with the route study.
Yeah, and Joel, I just am so hopeful that this trail could have a real transforming effect in Land O'Lakes, similar to Dunedin. So I'm really anxious for this route study and hope and that overlay zoning, I think, could really speed things along too. And I'm just really excited for what this could mean for Land O'Lakes.
So I have a question about the other end, the northeast end there. As DOT is improving SR 52, they're putting the multipurpose trails on the side of that. And of course, right now, getting from one side of I-75 to the other would be a pretty scary experience if you were riding your bicycle or trying to walk. So hopefully the Sun Coast can get us some safe crossover over I-75, and it'd be nice if there's some connection to 52 there, because I think people are going to want to use that, but not be able to as well.
Randy, it's there. This is one of the first things I did when I was county commissioner was stop the design of State Road 52 and 75. And DOT spent $1 million redesigning that because there wasn't a railroad underpass for the Orange Belt, and in their design they had taken it out. So they did put a underpass under 75 north of 52 at, what is it, Otis Allen? What's the name of that road now?
Ossie Murphy, ma'am.
Yeah, Ossie Murphy. So they keep kind of saying that's a road with the trail next to it. I remind everyone, no, that's a trail with a road next to it. But that is where the Sun Belt is going to go under 75.
Cool. Folks, is the low-hanging fruit portion going to be from the Sun Coast going west?
Yeah.
That's one of the areas we're investigating right now. We're focusing in on as Ms. Russo said, links that provide some independent utility that have some use and are not going to drop folks, in the middle of nowhere. but also where there's existing county property. The fact that there's existing county property that we can utilize or property that can be purchased, reasonably, with reasonable certainty allows us to accelerate parts of this job ahead of others. And that is one that stands out.
Don't forget that part of this trail is built already going through Bexley. And we have a landowner, Mr. Bexley, actually, and his family that are donating right away on the part behind Asturias. Our big challenge is how do we get over the Suncoast, but we know how to get to the Suncoast.
And there is a study that is also being run by project management for Tower Road, which would connect from Rangeland Boulevard to the Bud Bexley Parkway and the existing Tower Road over to US 41. That may be our most cost-effective crossing of Suncoast Parkway if we can get in there and have one bridge, construction effort that provides a crossing for the roadway as well as the trail. That would be probably the most realistic and nearest term way to get another overpass over the Suncoast Parkway. Otherwise, I agree that it could be a real barrier to us if we try and go to a different location.
Any other project updates, Sam?
No, ma'am. I believe that those are our ongoings. Did anybody have any other questions that we didn't touch on?
Sam, I don't know if you're on this project, but the bathroom at Suncoast and Starkey, are you involved in that at all, or Tina?
At Suncoast Parkway and the existing Starkey Wilderness Trail?
Yes, we got the funding for it, a FERDAP grant, but I asked today at the county commission, where is the bathroom?
That is not one of my children, ma'am. I am on the bathroom at Suncoast and 54.
That's a Parks project probably, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. All right.
Who's that behind you, Sam?
So
you're going to show us the map now?
The map.
Yeah.
So Nathan and Chi both have helped me with this. This is just the still version of the map. No live demo? No, not yet. So the biggest thing, and I would like to show you the legend, and it didn't show up. So make this just a little bit bigger. So we follow, the legend is basically.
Go to the eye at the top right.
Yeah, there you go. So the legend is based on what I call the Green Book. So the description of the legend is based on fact, not personal preference or comfort. Which give the personal comfort's a really big conversation going on. So we kind of follow the Green Book guidelines to explain what the path is. So we use the shared use path, and then we used a paved trail, which is totally separated Starkey, Wilderness Park. And then we have our unpaved stuff, but then we have bike lane. And then with the whole comfort part, we showed the busiest roadways with the bike lane. That way you felt like, if you want to see, Range Lane has bike lane on it. So totally different than riding on 54 with bike lane on it. So that way you get a little bit of idea of which, if you want to ride bike lane, if it's a busy roadway with truck traffic going 55 miles an hour, at least you know that. So that's kind of the thought process behind this map. We wanted to show trailheads. That way you know where parking is, and then later down the line, you'll be able to click on each trailhead and show what was at that trailhead. But that's kind of the basic in it. And then, you have different layers. They'll show the Suncoast Trail. You can actually pull out each trail as well and pull it out separately, along with the coast to coast will be on there. But that's the map. In February, we'll let you come play with it a little bit more. One of the biggest reasons is we're updating it based on our Tri-County regional map as well too. So we're working on that. So we're trying to tweak it to kind of fit the needs of the regional map as well as our needs. So, but it will be a little bit interactive, not as interactive as probably most of us want, but I think the Tri-County regional map will give us the app option with being able to do a lot more with it regionally and not just the local map as well.
Tina?
Yes.
Tina, you're missing the trail on Massachusetts that goes to the Starkey Wilderness Park. It goes along Massachusetts. It connects to downtown Newport Richey. And you have the trail that City of Newport Richey built on Marine Parkway and down 19.
Nate, if you look at the map that I've sent out links for that Mark and I made, I put all that on there. So the things that Commissioner Starkey's talking about, because I'm so familiar with this area, I mapped those out on that map. I've got even the stuff, some of the things that are in Sims Park. I've got the Marine Parkway. I've got Perrine Ranch. I've got all kinds of stuff on there. So just check that map and I can promise you it's pretty accurate.
Are those paved or are they sidewalk concrete?
So like Massachusetts is one that we as a county did a ribbon cutting for, and it's kind of the extended sidewalk, but it's we said it was a path. So that's what I called it. So it's, I don't know what sidewalks are 4 feet normally. This is probably 8 feet. And it's paved and it's pretty flat. So it's road bikes, friendly.
And probably the reason why it's not on there yet is because it's not one of those wider paths. And we're trying to figure out the best way to show those in a different type of legend, so to speak. So
we've got some ideas on that map that Mark and I made about potentially how to show those, but it is obviously pedestrian friendly, but it's also bike friendly. And I think we designed that map that Mark put up there that I edited a lot with bikes more in mind, because anything that you can bike on, you can walk on. So they're on there, and it's all the Newport Richey stuff. It is that connector that takes you from Starkey down to Cubulus to Massachusetts to almost to downtown, basically.
Because the path onto Cubulus on that south side is not okay. All right.
Yeah,
and that's what
it's similar to those, but they're better maintained. Yeah. Obviously, that one is not as well maintained.
Right. Okay. Now look at yours. I used yours a lot to kind of navigate. And then there's a lot of bike lanes that are in Bexley, Starkey that we went over and looked at and kind of put in there. And then we're trying to even on Starkey Boulevard where there's bike lane on one side, figure out if there's a way we can show that there's bike lane only on one side of the road currently. That way, when it does get put on both sides, it can be easily a solid line and maybe not a dotted line. So some of those were the conversations that we had.
We may need a workshop just for that because we all have ideas. And I mean, I'm not the only voice, but certainly this is my expertise. You know, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm a cyclist and I grew up in this area. So I also mapped out the Port Richey stuff and that's asphalt trail. So, you know, that's stuff you'll want to include here because if that, the Cody River Trail underneath 19 eventually does get built, that'll connect to that as well. So I even have that on here and we can decide how we want to display it. But I think having it on here and giving people the option is key. I promise you that's key. Whether we want to caution them, whether we want to put some symbology to let them know maybe there's gravel along this trail or there's some driveways that aren't visible, it's better than being in the road.
Yeah, and that's where the interactive map really comes into play. That's very beneficial on doing those things as well. You know, and again, this was the basics. We were just trying to clean it up. The biggest thing was taking stuff off that wasn't there. There was a lot of different things on there that weren't really there. And then having the legend that was based on not comfort level, but actuality of what was there. So it gives us a good start for this and kind of go from there. Send me your comments though.
Okay.
What you guys have done and we'll kind of go from there.
I just also want to say good job. Thanks, Nate and the rest of the team, Tina. I mean, this is the furthest we've gotten thus far. And although I'm very critical, I often forget to say thanks. So appreciate it.
Great.
Keep moving forward.
Again,
Thank you.
The longest part and kind of go from there. Because eventually we're going to have sheriffs in this county one way or another. And we'll want to be able to provide them on this map as well. So.
Hey, Tina, there's also a bike trail in Longleaf. And Longleaf is the CDD district, so it's a public trail. And you might want to take a peek at that one day.
That's also on my map, Commissioner Starkey.
Awesome.
Now that's a different link that we can send out, but you know, I'm not saying that has to be the map, but certainly it can be used to supplement and add data to the map that Nate and team created.
Again, the big part, as you know, is making sure whatever you put out there, people understand what they're getting into and that there's a clear definition of what that facility is. Again, that's the bike lane. We wanted to make sure bike lane and on range lane is totally different than bike lane on 54. So that's the biggest purpose of this. Yeah. So, any other comments? Thank you, guys. It'll be an ongoing project for us at every meeting, I'm sure, from this point on. So, and then hopefully in March, we'll have something at the Tri-County BPAC meeting that shows the regional work as well. So, I think that's it. I don't hear or see anybody else. I think we're going to have to again, hold off the membership and elections because we don't have a quorum. But I do want to update a little bit here. So Dan, and I don't want to butcher his name, Fitchmatcher is from Pasco Sheriff's Office. He now is on part of our membership. And then also Michael, who spoke up about the preserve. Michael Zinn is the community traffic safety team for District 7. He's the program manager, so he'll be sitting in on our meetings as well, working on someone with the health department or that angle as well. But I know David, who had just started with our committee, who was alternate for Commissioner Starkey's district, moved to Pinellas. So he won't be able to be part of the committee anymore. And we're losing, right? Mark as well. So let's see if we can get some people interested in. I'm going to talk to some from Jeff at the bike shop and stuff. I'd like to get some of those folks involved as well. But you guys speak it up. We can do virtual and again, the physical quorum, but let's get some more people involved. The Trinity Bike Shop, she's now on our agenda mailing list. Rick's down in Dade City, they're now on our mailing list. So I'm trying to reach out to those bike shops as well to get them more involved. At least that what we're doing is project-wise. But anybody that you want to send out to come join us at the next February meeting, please do so, because we're going to start doing some things.
Well, I want to say thanks to Mark. It's been, appreciate your volunteering and your insight and creating the map and helping. And I've struggled with the decision that you just made too. I think I'll do one more year. So
I'm actually moved out. I moved to Pinellas.
Okay.
So I'll still be involved.
Okay.
And we have, we're actually updated well, we have the map. So thank you very much for building that out, because the time it takes for the county to get to it, when we can get to it in days, and Corey put so much work into that. But we actually built a standalone app that we're testing next week with multiple interactive maps, because it's if you're on your bike and you're lost and you're trying to connect, you need to be able to connect to the trail that's done. So we think that's ready to go for next week. And
can you send me a link when you're ready?
Yeah,
when you're done.
Actually, you already get it from the app store. Okay. I'll tell you later about it, because it's in beta test side. So I'll still work if anybody needs help, and I'm still biking all these areas.
Nice.
And Commissioner Starkey would be happy to hear I've spent years biking from Pasco to other places to spend money. This is the last 2 weekends. I biked from Pinellas, from Oldsmar up to the Starkey barn to have breakfast.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's awesome. But why did you do that?
I moved. We built a new building down in Oldsmar, which I was trying to get in Pasco, but that didn't work out. But
I was going to say Dade City out to Pinellas. That's a big move.
Yeah.
So you're going to be part of the Pinellas BPAC then?
Yeah, I'm gonna if they have open memberships, I'm looking to join down there.
Big group. Good.
Well, but thanks anyway, Mark. Appreciate it.
So again, membership, we'll work on that. Again, February meeting, hopefully we'll probably end up back here. I'm going to, like I said, entertain different locations for next year, because it looks like we're going to probably stick with this hybrid virtual, which I kind of like being able to do both, but we'll just kind of move from there. I do want to mention that, and Sam mentioned that we had the ribbon cutting for the Starkey Gap, did a ride from the barn to the short one, but to the ribbon cutting right there, just a little bit to the south of the Trinity Crossing. But Dale Allen, who is with Office of Greenways and Trails Foundation, came down. We did some podcasting, did some videotaping for the state in reference to the Starkey Gap, but just a great event to be a part of. We're going to take advantage of that momentum of that ribbon cutting. That's one of the reasons why we want to do it, so we can move forward with some other projects and take advantage of it. And then Coastal Anclote, if you haven't done it, really pretty trail. And with that connection to the Pinellas, and then the future connections that we have planned with Orange Belt, it's going to be some great things coming to Pasco County in the near future. So just wanted to plug those events and kind of go from there. And I think that's it, other than our next meeting. There's some other business on there, and FDOT will be upset with me. They're going to start some comments for the next 5-year plan coming up in January. I'll send that in an email blast. A lot of different things I try to keep you apprised on through an email blast. So that's it. Again, I had the one comment about future agenda topics, and that is kind of tracking our projects from beginning to end. And that's all I have. Dr. Stovall, do you have anything else to add? Oh, he disappeared. He left us already, huh? He was having some connectivity problems too.
He's got COVID.
Okay. So, with that being said, we will adjourn and thank everyone for making the trek to here, and safe holidays and enjoy the cooler weather.